So now that we have inserted the basic items into Google Sites, this particular choice will show you how to insert a few more. We have gone to the insert panel and we've done the wheel. We've kind of exhausted most of the stuff on the little insert wheel that we've used. And we've definitely dealt with 3 of the 4 options up here. But if you continue scrolling down, you'll notice that there's a long list of options that you can add. And we're going to focus on 2 of those in this video, calendar and YouTube. Before you can insert a calendar, we should talk about how your shared settings are for that calendar. And they're a bit different than for Google Docs or Slides or other Drive files. So we're going to journey to calendar for a moment to check those out. So if you will journey over to calendar.google.com, you'll see it here. And over on the left will be a series of a list of whatever calendars you've made or have access to. And I'm just using this little fake delete calendar to show these options. So we need to check out how it's shared. Now, again, you don't share calendars like you do documents, so it's kind of similar in the idea that they have to be shared for everybody to view them, right? So you're going to click the 3-dot menu that appears when you hover over that particular calendar. Now, again, when you're in calendar, understand that each one of these items on the left is an entirely different calendar made by you or other people. So each one has its own settings. So I'm going to click the 3-dot menu. I'm going to go to settings and sharing. And really, this is every setting. So you'll notice that here's some of my calendars and each one has its own subset of options. And I'm going to click on access permissions. Really, that just scrolls down to it. So you'll see here a couple of options. Now, this particular one, if I want to put it on a web page, it needs to be available to the audience for that web page. So the audience is likely the public, not just your students or just specific people. So if you want it to be accessible by, say, parents, you don't want to be faced with typing in each of those parents' emails or sharing it to a group. So I'm going to click on make available to public in this particular case. It's saying, are you sure you want to do that? Sure. And then you have options of what's available to the public. And this is where you do want to consider this carefully. So I can show only free or busy, which means it'll hide the details. So in other words, if I have an event on my calendar, it'll just have a tag that says busy. It won't say what the event actually is. Or I can choose see all event details. So if I'm doing it for a homework calendar or a calendar of events for my class that's talking about when and where they should show up for those events, then yeah, they need to know those details. So I'm going to choose see all details. At that point, it auto saves and you can just close that particular tab. So I'm going to go back to my site now to actually insert the actual document. And I'm just going to click on calendar over here. It's going to show me a list of all my calendars. So I need to find that delete one that I made. Click on it and click insert. And just as when I embedded documents from Drive, I get a host of different options. So that's found by that gear again. Don't forget that, the settings gear. And I get a bunch of options as to how they will appear on the page. And most of these are fine, showing the title, the date, navigation buttons, which in this case are just these little arrows so they can move between the days or weeks or months. View selection, and then view mode. The only one I would really want to point out is view mode. You're going to notice that it comes in like a list. So every day would just be a list of events. It doesn't really look like a calendar. So you might want to change it to either a week calendar or a month one. I like the month one. And then I'm going to click done. You'll then notice that this is really tiny for a month-long calendar. So you will use your little blue dots that we've used before to stretch it across, remembering that it snaps in to these columns. And then you'll use the other one to sort of stretch it down, just however far to make you comfortable. There it is. And the appearance. Also understanding that when we went into preview mode earlier on, that preview mode makes everything wider. So you're losing this kind of editing pane over here. So the view that most people see will be even bigger than this. So understanding that always happens. So that's inserting a calendar. The second thing you may want to do is insert a YouTube video. Okay, now this is specifically YouTube. If you have made or downloaded a video into your Drive, that will be the same settings as when we inserted from Drive. It would just be another document that you could use. So I'm going to insert an actual YouTube video. There's a couple of ways to do this. I would recommend finding the YouTube video on YouTube first. It's just easier to search and view the things in that way. So I'm going to journey to YouTube. And I'm going to search for the video that I want, and it's going to be a Crash Course Kids video. And it's going to be this one on the food chains. So once I end up at the screen for that particular video, you'll probably know that there's a share button. I hit share, and then I can click copy to grab the link for that YouTube video. I really love this as a way to share YouTube videos because it does eliminate all this other stuff. It doesn't eliminate the ads at the beginning and end, but it does eliminate all this extra stuff around all these suggestions. So then I'm going to go back to my site. I'm going to click YouTube over here, which is right above calendar. And it's going to let me search them. Okay. So I could search a topic right here, but you see that the pane's really tiny, so it's kind of hard to do that. So I'm just going to paste in Control+V, paste in the video. I'm basically going to search for that exact video. So only one should pop up. I click it, click select, just like I do all the other stuff. When it appears, I get the same thing as before. I can drag it to make it bigger. I can move it into different sections, just like we've done in the past. I get my gear to change the options or the settings for that particular object. And that will allow me to go to full screen. It'll show a progress bar. It'll show me the controls for the video as it's playing, but that'll fade as the video starts. So usually your default's okay. I click done again, and that's it. So that is the really quick version of inserting either a calendar or YouTube. But please do see that there are a bunch of items over here, mostly supplied by Google, that you can insert into your file, into your site to make it even more dynamic.